So it's a dark day in the United Kingdom because we have just been told that we can only now meet up with a maximum of 6 people from a household. So we're back to kind of lockdown measures, even though the death rate has collapsed in the UK for COVID-19. But the purpose of today's video is something completely different. This video is a message to people that perhaps read my posts, don't want to say anything for various reasons, and I understand that, but who know that they're being lied to, know this is sinister, and know that this is huge, what we face. It really is huge, and that we are living in totalitarian times. Totalitarian, of course, meaning complete control over every aspect of our lives, and a life of abuse and torture, which is what we face. We really do face very terrifying times ahead. But the purpose of this video is I want you to question. I want you to question everything that you think you know, everything that you have learned at school about the last 2 centuries, about history, about politics, about the way the world works, has been a lie. We have been lied to about what happened in World War II. We have been lied to about what really happened with the Nazis. And this is very significant because if we have been lied to about history, it also means that everything else that's linked to history that we learn, the narrative, the story of the world that we live in, has been a lie. So, for instance, at school or at university, when you learn about literature of the last 2 centuries that's linked to history, it's been a lie. When you learn about politics linked to history, it has been a lie. When you learn about the legal system linked to history, it has been a lie. Art linked to history has been a lie. Everything is connected, and we have been lied to. It means, essentially, that if we face up to this, we have to face the fact that we have been living a lie. And that is a huge thing to face. So I totally understand the fear and the barriers that people put up when people like myself talk about these issues. But what I say to you is, if this all sounds too extreme and it all sounds too mad and too tinfoil hat for you to listen to, what I say to you is, if you've got to this point where you're listening to my video and you read my posts and you're questioning, you know that there's something not right. And that should be enough if you have a critical mind to look further, to question and to read between the lines, and to read well-researched, well-referenced material that shows a different version of history that has been hidden from us. It's been hidden from us because if we all knew, there would be a huge uprising tomorrow. So, first steps to changing the world, the only way we change the world is with the truth. Truth is everything. We don't change anything without it, and we never, ever will. Revolutions without truth are pointless revolutions. They are controlled. So there's 2 pieces of literature I want to talk about with you today. The first one is a book that really opened my eyes to the lies that we are told. The book is called Grey Wolf. Grey Wolf was Hitler's code name during World War II. And we were told, weren't we, at school? I was told at university, or I read in the history books, that Hitler committed suicide in a bunker in Germany at the end of World War II. And that the West, the Allies, won the war, and that the Nazis were finished. Hooray! Democracy, freedom, we were told. We won our freedom back. We won our freedom. So we were told. The truth is actually something far worse and far more frightening. What happened is that Hitler did not commit suicide. Hitler escaped at the end of World War II via sub across the Atlantic Ocean to an area of Argentina called Patagonia. And together with lots of other top Nazis and officials, they made a life in Patagonia where they were in touch with the CIA in America. They were in touch with the institutions of America. And they set up a financial outfit there, a banking, financial outfit of control. And they amassed huge amounts of money and worked with the CIA. The CIA knew they were living there, they let them live there, and they protected their identity. Why did they do that? If you read the book, you will see it's because they wanted to work with the Nazis, they wanted that control, they wanted the power, they wanted the secrets and the information that the Nazis had amassed through their reign of terror over people in Nazi Germany and through all the experiments and things that they did. So that was one of the reasons that they allowed the Nazis to escape to Patagonia. And it's reported in here as well, if you read it, some shocking things like the fact that Hitler is reported to have had children in the 1950s in Patagonia. So first chink in the chain. Second chink in the chain, I'm trying to make this video a bit shorter because I did one earlier and it was far too long. Second chink in the chain is Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip is not hidden. There's films, there's documentaries on the History Channel, on National Geographic that go through what happened. At the end of World War II, we know that a few Nazis were up for trial in the Nuremberg trials and were charged, but many of them were allowed to go to America in secret. The Americans invited them to America to have a free life, to live in a democracy, and they were offered top jobs in American governmental institutions. So they were offered jobs working as physicians, working in the Department of Health, working for the Space Agency, working with science, pharmaceuticals, medicine, psychology, all the information that they amassed through the experiments in Nazi Germany, through the death camps, the concentration camps. They took that knowledge, that expertise, if you like, if you want to call it that, into the top institutions of America, and they took over. They took over these institutions with their ideology, with their eugenic ideology. Eugenics is the ideology of the master race. And also with this ideology of a world superpower, being in control of the world, taking over the world. That Nazi ideology was implanted, was allowed to permeate throughout the United States. And this book charters this wonderfully. It's a wonderfully written book. It's hard to read at times because it's jam-packed with evidence. So it's more like reading a kind of a book of evidence than it is something with a narrative. So if you buy it, you will struggle, but it's well worth it because nobody can refute this if they read it. So it's called The Nazi Hydra in America, and it's written by Glenn Yedden and John Hawkins. Do get this book if you want to see the proof as to how it happened. And it also shows how they took over the banking industry, those links, the links with the banking industry in the United States, and also the links with the early eugenics movement that formed in the early part of the century in America, and how that influenced Adolf Hitler and how that led to the creation of the Nazi Party in Germany. So it's all about America. It all started in America, and it all kind of goes back in a circle to American control, Nazi control of the world. And the links in this book also show that this ideology took over in terms of the United Nations after World War II, the World Health Organization, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank. the institutions that control the global economy and global politics, and also defense and war, how they have taken over that agenda on a world stage, the politics of war, the economy of war. So once you put those two things together and you understand that the Nazis never went away, they have taken over. That ambition of Hitler to take over the world has happened. Everything that we've seen in the last 20 years, since 9/11 at the very least, is this. It's about a takeover of countries, an imperialism, if you like, where the United States has pushed itself, it's forced itself onto other countries so it can take over their resources, take over their institutions, and control those countries. And we are now living in a situation where this ideology, this corruption, has watered down through all the institutions of so many countries that they have taken over the world. And this is where we are, 2020. They've taken over the world, they've taken over the institutions of power, and they feel through their control of the media that they can brainwash us and lead us to what's called the final solution. And this really is where we're at, a frightening moment where we've reached the stage of a final solution. Why do they want to get rid of us? Why do they want to kill us? And this is awful things we have to face. They don't want us anymore. And it's very brutal and it's very blunt, but we are not useful anymore. We are not profitable anymore. And that's all we ever have been to these people throughout history, is money. Numbers on a computer that produce profit. And we can't do that anymore. They have AI, artificial intelligence, they have robotics, they have the machinery that can take over nearly all of our jobs. So what are they going to do with us? I think we know the answer. But there is still time. There's still time to wake up, do your reading, get these books. Get these books, and hopefully these books will take you to far more information as well. You'll go into down a rabbit hole, if I can use that expression. Start reading, start looking at CIA files. It's all on the CIA website, all the freedom of information requests over the years that reveal the truth of what has been going on. And once you feel you can make sense of what's been happening, you need to rise up as soon as you can. Join us with protests, join us on the streets with all the different things we're doing. Let's not let them steal our humanity from us.